Pillar 2, Mind Matters. Tool 3, Reframe your framework. Did you know that your body is not the enemy? I know how difficult this concept can be when you feel as though we have been at war with our bodies for our entire existence. But this is a case for friendly fire, folks. Friendly fire, folks, and we are usually the shooters. Think back to your last cold or flu, chills, fever, scratchy throats, fatigue, that crusty stuff that builds around you get the picture. Override. And it is our mean old body's fault. After all, the body is working overtime to despair those white blood cells to the site of the virus, attempting to squash its insidious attack on our immune system. Awful. I mean old body, right? Wrong. Feeling crappy when we are sick is not a sign of a body that is mutating, mutating. It's in that unfortunate byproduct of a body working exponentially hard to return us to wellness. Our body is fighting on our behalf that even as we curse it as though it were a cheating lover. Practicing reframe your framework can be refounding for those of us navigating chronic illness or gender nonconformity, feeling trapped in a body that does not feel like it has your best interest at heart assuredly makes sense. It is hard to to have to love a vessel that appears to be the author of significant pain. What a terrifying experience to wake up in a constant pain, or a body that does not feel in alignment with who you know yourself to be. It may very well feel like your body is against you. Remember that this is a thinking, doing, and being journey, and we will need to try on the new beliefs and actions in this service of radical self-love with tool 3 in mind. With tool 3 in mind, we are invited to ask ourselves what peace, power, or joy can be gained by deciding that this body I am inextricably tied to for the rest of my life is my enemy. If there is no access to peace, power, or joy in your current framework, then it simply doesn't serve you. In 2015, article on the website XO author and clinical social worker Kai Cheng Tan Pence want what she calls a love partner between a woman and her body. She challenges the pervasive narrative of being a trans woman born in the wrong body. She writes, I began to see that my body was not the cause of her hatred directed against me. Society did that. My body did not fail to protect me when I was attacked. I did not deserve violence. My body has never been wrong. Someone else decided that. Keiichi Tam grasped that by trying on a new framework, it was possible to relate to my body, transform my body from a place of joy instead of anger and fear. Radical self-love asks us to try on new ways of thinking and doing that give us access to new ways of being. Trying on a new framework is like trying on a new coat. It may or may not fit. The coat isn't wrong for not fitting. You are not wrong for not fitting in the coat. It just doesn't fit. For too many of us have been walking around the world wearing our body is the enemy coat, wondering why we feel trapped and miserable. We tried on a thinking that doesn't fit our pursuit. Radical self-love, deciding our body is the enemy, leaves us fighting an unwinnable battle on our own soil. It all comes down to a simple question: if you decide to be at war with your body, how will you ever have peace? In Apologetic Inquiry number 26, consider the way in which you have been at war with your body. How have you tried to fight your body or make it surrender to your will? How have you shown it animosity? How can you practice radical reconciliation? Tool number 4, meditate on a mantra. Do you have a right now, a someday, or a remember back when relationship with your body? Imagine waiting a subway platform for a train that is due in 5 minutes. Except it's 8 hours late and the train has never come. You have missed an entire workday waiting for the train, has become an excuse for doing nothing while declaring, I swear someday that train is going to come. At this point, the night staff is locking up the place around you. Now imagine you are running to catch the train, and as you arrive on the platform, it pulls away. Instead of catching the next train, you stand there for 8 hours, lamenting how you just missed that stupid train. 30 trains have passed since you arrived, and yet there you are, shivering and alone in the dark, reminiscing about when you almost got that damn train in both scenarios. One thing remains true: you are stuck on the platform of life, not going anywhere. Whether you are waiting for the wealth train, the weight loss train, or the new lover train to take you to happiness, or you are watching the remember when I weighed 125-pound train leave with all your joy, you must your most amazing life is not happening on the train you missed or the one you thought didn't arrive. You are avoiding life. Life is happening right now. Tool 4 is designed to get us off that platform and back to a right now relationship with our bodies. Meditation calls on us to be present in the immediate moment, the right now. Meditating asks us to notice what sensation, pleasant and unpleasant, are arising in our bodies, not for the sake of eradicating them, but to simply make peace with our present state. Miraculously, through the process of meditation, unpleasant states dissipate on their own. We don't even have to try to make them go away. A 2016 study done by Carnegie Mellon University Health and the Human Performance Laboratory required 35 unemployed men and women who were seeking work and experienced considerable stress. After taking baseline diagnostic, diagnostic, diagnostic medical information, researchers taught health subjects formal mindfulness meditation, open, respective, non-judgmental awareness of your present moment experience. The rest of the participants were taught a made-up method that focused on relaxation and distraction from worry. When the study concluded, all 35 participants claimed to feel less stress and a greater sense of ease. However, brain scans showed that the member of the group that practiced mindfulness meditation has greater activity in the region of the brain responsible of processing stress-related action, for the sense of calm, and for communication. 4 months later, those who practiced the mindfulness meditation demonstrated much lower levels in their blood of a marker of unhealthy inflammation than the relaxation group. Even though few were still meditating, meditation alters our physical and emotional state. It also turns down the volume of body shame. Our brains are cunning and resilient, storing decades worth of information for the sake of keeping us alive. As is true of our social media profile, there are upsides and downsides to having that much information stockpiled in one place. We are hardwired to retain negative experiences. We are hardwired to retain negative experiences. This cognitive function is why we haven't intentionally touched a hot stove since we were 3 or used Aqua Net hairspray since we were 15. We are biologically predisposed to remember painful things as a function of evolution. These experiences from the informational autobahns of our brains, our neural pathways. This is where this is where mantras come in. This is where mantras come in. A mantra is a word or phrase used repetitively in Sanskrit. Mantra means a tool or instrument of the mind. Mantras not only soothe us, but when used in conjunction with meditation can reroute the neural pathway of our brains by replacing negative thoughts pattern with new ideas. Radical self-love ideas. Choosing a mantra is about finding a phrase or word we desire to live by. It should make us uncomfortable. It should make us think, how dare I believe such an odious thing about myself? If you feel a little queasy when you speak your mantra aloud, you have probably found the right one. Your mantra should feel like your growing edge. A good mantra may make your body shame voice louder at first. This is a good sign. Mantras that challenge our current neurological pathways of body shame will essentially trigger those pathways as we endeavor to disrupt them. Here are a few mantras you may want to try. I love my body. I'm a vessel of radical self-love. My body is my ally. I have the body I need to live my best life. Practice meditating 5 minutes a day for 30 days and see what happens. Invite the discomfort of sitting in the stillness of the present and saying words you do not yet truly believe. I promise that radical self-love transformation will be birthed in the quiet of those vexatious moments. Meditating on a mantra reminds us that it is time to get off that subway platform and get to living. Life is not behind us, nor before us. Our most amazing and apologetic life is right here, right now. In Apologetic Inquiry number 27, our brains are wired for trillions of functions. However, they do not have to stay rooted on an express train of body shame and hatred. We can reroute our mental address to radical self-love. Using the following question, craft 2 affirmative mantras that you can live into. If I were free of shame or discomfort, what might I say about my body? If I were unafraid of failure or disappointment, what would I do right now? Tool number 5, banish the binary. Humans have developed myriad ways to organize the vast quantities of information we take in every day. We categorize life like we separate laundries, lights, darks, gentle cycle, permanent press, but much like laundry, life doesn't always fall into neat and easily definable categories. Neither do we. We are messy. We human, we are plaid and polka dot, silk and denim, all in the same all in the same shirt. We are hard to sort out, which is why binary thinking doesn't serve our radical self-love journey. Historically, we have used the term binary to talk about radical self-love, to talk about number sequence and land reserved for statisticians and computer coders. A more contemporary treatment of the term deals with our often rigid and dualistic understanding. More contemporary treatment of the term deals with the often rigid and dualistic understanding of gender as strictly male or female, feminine or masculine, and attracted to men or women based solely on those assignments. This inflexibility attack to men or women based solely assignment. This inflexibility erase the nuance and diversity of a human gender and sexuality. Furthermore, binary thinking, when expanded to include all the ways we marginalize the gradient of a human behavior and identity, illuminate how either or thinking limits the fullness of our human potential and clouds of radical our human potential and clouds of our radical self-love vision. We are not simply good or bad vessels, a vessel of pure divine light or mongers of hate, interrupters of body terrorism everywhere, of single-handedly upholding the oppression of bodies across the planet. If good and bad were the choices on the quiz about who we are, the planet, about who we are, the answer would be all of above. Humans, you and I, are going and being, are doing and being all those things all the time. If human behavior were charted on a scatter graph, we each would have thoughts on every portion of where we charted on scatter path portion of the spectrum. In the middle, at the end, and every place in between, binary thinking limits our possibility, squelches compassion, and reinforces narrow ideas of how limits our possibilities, squelches compassion, and reinforce narrow ideas of how we get to be in the world. That marginalization is a function of internalized body terrorism. If you recall, the practice of I am not my thoughts prompted us to examine our thoughts from a place of curiosity and diminished judgment. The same is true for our behaviors. We can change our behaviors by only when we see them as mutable, of us not but not us. Honor that you will be many things throughout the course of your life. Sometimes you will be phenomenal gifts, sometimes you will get on someone's damn nerves. There is gorgeous potential and heinous instinct in us all. Singularity does not define us. Our instincts influence and shape us but do not define us. When we find ourselves in the land when we find ourselves in the land of either or thinking, characterized by words by like never, always, only, every time, mostly, rarely, it is a greater sign that we may be off our path. Binary thinking is an antithesis of radical self-love. Radical reflection, humans aren't laundry. Stop trying to compartmentalize and sort yourself out. Messy does not always mean dirty. Sometimes it just means complicated, and complicated can be beautiful. Ask yourself, how might I approach life differently if I had compassion for my beautiful mess?